Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGamingTech.com video, we're going to be further discussing the next generation Xbox as well as the set-top box. It seems that the future of the set-top box is still extremely uncertain. It has been known for a while that Microsoft have been working on different designs, but according to the Wall Street Journal, it's actually unclear whether Microsoft will eventually introduce the device or not. Indeed, has actually gone through several different prototypes, but the recent one actually works with the Kinect motion control, which of course would allow the device to actually be controlled via either simple gestures or even speaking. Accordingly, Microsoft actually intend to create a common experience between all of their different products. This is very similar to, of course, what Apple are doing. If you've used an iPhone or an iPad and so forth, you'll see a commonality between them. Of course, there are some differences. If you're using, say, a Mac and Apple TV, there will be some differences, but the UI will look familiar in terms of at least the basic design, and Microsoft want to continue to embody that themselves. Windows 8 is very much the start of that, and there's a very good chance that, of course, the next generation Xbox, in fact, one of the rumors is that it's actually going to be called Xbox 8, will incorporate the next generation operating system, Windows 8, into it. Right now, however, Microsoft seem to have quite a few products on their hands. They are, of course, redesigning the next generation Xbox, as well as Kinect 2. But there's also rumors that they are working on a cheaper version of the current Xbox, one without a DVD drive and a few other bits and pieces, and that's codenamed right now to be called Stingray. And of course, there are also rumors about the set-top box. However, many developers have said that Microsoft themselves are apparently reorganizing and possibly even canning some projects because the development team are significantly behind where they're originally scheduled. Indeed, it seems that they're around 6 months behind in certain projects. That doesn't mean all projects. Some could just be a couple of weeks delay, some could be on time, and some are up to 6 months. As a slight aside, I've actually released another video yesterday that goes into Sony's own woes. It seems that Sony themselves are going to have problems managing to actually keep up with their own numbers. In case you're wondering what I mean by this, it's possible that Sony's actual manufacturing processes aren't as smooth and refined as they want, and they are actually falling behind as well in terms of the amount of consoles that they can produce. I suggest checking out yesterday's video if you want more information, however. So anyway, the possibility right now is Microsoft could completely can the idea for the set-top box, or maybe introduce it later, or maybe use, say, the Stingray. So what exactly is the purpose behind all of this? Well, consoles are becoming more and more popular to access digital entertainment, and by which I mean services such as Netflix, LoveFilm, their streaming services of course, and so on. Netflix, however, have said that Sony's PlayStation 3 is actually the most popular device to actually gain access to streaming entertainment. It also appears that Microsoft are trying to lay the basic foundations for the actual writing of different programs. To read a quote directly from Wall Street Journal, several people familiar with Microsoft's development efforts said the company has been telling teams to write programs using coding standards that Microsoft recently developed. The idea, the people said, was to make it easy to write programs that can work on Xbox, a smartphone, or even a Windows personal computer using Microsoft's software. So what does that actually mean? Well, this kind of lends some more credence to the fact that there's another rumor that's going around, of course, talking about actually the actual Windows marketplace being available, at least to a degree, on Xbox, although it's most likely going to be called Xbox Marketplace. And the purpose behind all of this would quite simply be to allow developers to publish their applications over many different devices seamlessly and easily. In yesterday's video, another video from yesterday, I was talking about how Sony themselves are winning support from indie developers. But the most important thing isn't that Sony are winning support, it's that developers are actually chastising Microsoft in terms of how they are being dealt with. And this is particularly true with indie developers. It's very, very, very hard for a company like, say, for example, Microsoft to bully, say, EA. Because EA have so much clout. In other words, if you piss them off too much, they could simply say, well, okay, then you don't get any of our games. And a console that doesn't have, say, Battlefield and the new, I don't know, BioWare games and everything else, it's not really a good move. On the other hand, it's a lot easier to bully small, independent developers. Microsoft, however, have responded to these criticisms, and they have said in their defense that they are trying to work to improve this. But once again, one of the purposes behind the whole streaming idea is to, well, streamline, the decision to make to buy a console. Right now, it can't just be about gaming, and consoles are selling worse than what they have done. But you've got to also remember that this is a very arbitrary way to look at things. It's very black and white in some respects, because it's very, very, very hard to say or convince someone that a PlayStation 4 isn't going to sell as well as a PlayStation 3 when you're basing the numbers of current system sales. Of course they're going to sell worse. For example, how many people do you know now that's actually going to buy a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation a Vita? Well, okay, Vita's a bad example, but the Xbox, it's just not that many, because obviously most people who have actually bought the damn thing, they don't want another one unless it breaks. And you know, you might get the odd person who own it, say an Xbox, and they say buy a PlayStation, but most people now are just going to sit on their money and wait. The other premise behind this set-top box isn't just for the ability to, say, stream in Netflix, although obviously that's fairly important. But obviously there is a price you can't really go above. For example, you can't really charge $200 for that. And it's certainly true that if they were to redesign a cheap console, for example, the Xbox 360, and to redesign it becomes Stingray, it's going to be very, very difficult to justify the purposes of actually putting a set-top box as well. They're all going to be competing for a fairly small market. But the other purpose of the set-top box, of course, is going to be games. Now, obviously it's not going to have the power or hardware in it of, say, the Durango, whatever that's going to end up being called. However, it's certainly going to have enough oomph behind it to play casual games. Casual games haven't really been clarified or defined. I would guess stuff that you would expect on, say, smartphone applications, because let's face it, pretty much any CPU that's capable of playing 1080p content at decent speeds and so on, and certainly running the core of the Windows 8 operating system, which appears to be at the center of this new device, whatever it's going to be called, will quite happily be able to play a smartphone game, unless, you know, we're talking smartphone games of the future. Anyway, I think that just about covers it for this particular video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We'll hopefully see you soon. Take care, and bye for now.